Top 5 Risks of Doing Business in Brazil. Business in itself is risky, and when you invest your money to begin a business in Brazil, there are a lot of risks to be taken into account. So let's dive deep into the topic one by one. 1. Corruption. A gripping factor in the success of a business is its authenticity. For a business to be fruitful, it must be free from any corruption. Otherwise, a major portion of its income will go into the hands of the bureaucrats of the city. Brazil happens to be a bay of business investments. However, the rate of corruption in the country is as famous as its business. According to a report of Transparency International's 2021 Corruption Perceptions Index, Brazil has scored only 38 points out of 100. Earlier, the corruption rates were higher than this, but such reports clearly state that there is enough malpractice going around in the public sector. A lot of money goes to the pockets in the name of bribery as well. All business dealings must be done with a bill or invoice. However, in the Brazilian market, this is not always so. Fake bills after buying or selling products are a threat to the business operations done in Brazil. Most Brazilian companies are very much protected by the government with strict laws and legal regulations. However, for a foreigner, these rules aren't strictly followed. 2. Economic growth. Brazil happens to be a large country famous for its large economy. However, the economic growth of the country remains to be underdeveloped. The reason here is that Brazil is a developing country, which also means that in terms of business, numerous factors have to be developed. Let me take you through the interesting factors. The essence of business is its customers. The products or services a company provides must be continuously bought by its customers. If that doesn't happen, it will harm the market. Strongly developed nations have a strong customer base, while in the case of developing nations, this is not so. Also, as we have discussed earlier, Brazilian laws are not strictly carried out, and hence the regulations are also weak when compared to the ones with developed economic growth. Since the year 2012, Brazil has been facing challenges with its stagnated economic growth. Very often, the economy has declined downwards as well. The value of the Brazilian currency had also faced a downturn, which indeed had an impact on buying its products from the United States. 3. Complex tax system. Brazil imposes a huge amount of tax on imported goods, be it small or big business. Taxes are always burdensome. Not just that. Apart from the huge amount of taxes to be paid, the system itself is a not to solve. According to the World Bank's Doing Business report, Brazil has the lowest rank of 184 out of 190 countries. This was a ranked list published based on trading ease. This gives a pretty clear picture of how complicated it is to start business along with its taxes to pay. People who are not a resident of Brazil are also subjected to pay the Brazilian income tax. The interest rates here lies between 6% to 25%. Apart from the paperwork, if one intends to import a machine or processor for improving its productions, the machine has to go through various customs checking, which stays as yet another obstacle to a smooth business. 4. Bureaucracy in business operations. The factors we have talked about until now are less harmful than this one. Being a foreign businessman, one might find bureaucracy to be a villain in carrying out the trading operations. Bureaucracy operates everywhere within the country, not just in terms of business. A startup will have to go through approximately 13 to 14 series of steps to bring the business plan into action. Even though Brazil has its place secured as the world's 6th largest economy, better amendments haven't thrown light on the business laws and regulations. For a startup, bureaucracy is similar to ragging done to the newcomers by the seniors of the same school. Business bureaucrats, who have already established a name in Brazil's business activities, get to play as decision makers in letting in new startups that include much paperwork and a delay in the procedures, draining time from the business operations. 5. Import and export sector of Brazil. According to the report for the year 2020, Brazil got ranked as the 25th largest exporter among other countries in the world. Brazil's exporting operations itself have brought $214 billion to its account. Most of its income from export comes from various sectors like meat, iron and steel exporting, computers, and sugar. With all that being said, you may think that its import-export sector works at ease, but this is not the case. Being a bay of the foreign trade market, Brazil also places several obstacles to the trade across territories. The 2019 GDP of the country also slowed down soon because the pandemic hit worldwide. Apart from the taxes imposed, as we've talked about earlier, Brazil has been imposing high import tariffs on the goods as well. Brazil's logistics stands as one of the highest in the world. The country's infrastructure still hasn't kept pace with its development, which has a counter effect on its logistics, making it more expensive. The customs services are also complex, making the bulk wait at the check post for 3 days to complete the formalities.